A lot of people focus on learning the technical skills that will get them hired, and this is fantastic. But what many don't realize is the important role that soft skills play in their success, especially in the tech industry. According to a study by Harvard University, 85% of job success is attributed to well-developed soft and people skills. Can you imagine that? This means that only 15% is credited to technical skills, which are the hard skills that we often prioritize. So stick around as we explore the soft skills that could very well be the key to unlocking your success in the growing tech industry. The fourth skill has extremely helped in my career growth, so you do not want to miss it. Now, before we jump into today's video, if you enjoy content on career growth, web development tools, freelancing, and everything in between, then this is your community. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell notification so you do not miss any of my content. All right, let's kick things off with the first soft skill that can truly set you apart in tech, which is what I call ownership. Now, I know what you're thinking, that ownership sounds like a fancy term, but in everyday language, ownership really just boils down to taking responsibility for your work from start to finish. Now, this means owning the entire journey of your project from its initial idea to the moment that it is polished and ready to be deployed or rolled out. So how do you really develop ownership as a soft skill? Here are some practical tips that I found to be helpful in my career. First, I would say set goals for yourself within every project. Understand the scope and the challenges for that project and what success looks like for that particular project. Secondly, ask questions if you're not very clear about the context for every project. The third thing that you want to do is to break down your work into manageable tasks. It's easier to complete something when you can put it piece by piece, right? And finally, you do not want to be afraid to go the extra mile. Take initiative, because that's the whole essence of ownership. Now, moving on to the next soft skill that's essential for thriving and being successful in tech, I'll call it genuine curiosity. Genuine curiosity is all about being genuinely interested and keeping that thirst for what I'll say curiosity alive. In tech and the web development space that I'm in, a lot of things are always evolving. I mean, you wake up and you just hear that there's a new tool or a new framework that is out. So you genuinely need to keep yourself up to date with the knowledge and make sure that your knowledge still stays relevant. And I think this is really the same thing that happens in a lot of tech industries, not necessarily just web development space, right? So genuine curiosity means that you do not just stop at what you know, but you're eager to explore new ideas, you're eager to try out new technologies. So I would say make it a habit to ask questions, not just about what is in front of you, but you could ask questions about what a project could be. So cultivate a mindset that is always hungry to get more knowledge. Engage in activities that nurture curiosity, work on side projects that push your boundaries of knowledge, attend tech meetups, exchange ideas with like-minded people that you meet, and just remain curious. You'll realize that when you remain genuinely curious, you're not just keeping up with trends, you're also probably going to have the opportunity to shape up trends. Now, can you guess the third soft skill that we'll look at today? Can you guess it? Well, it's none other than attention to details. Now, I know you're probably thinking, oh yeah, you've heard attention to details over and over and over again, and you're probably tired of hearing it, but I didn't just include it on this list because it's a cliche, but I included it because it's actually true. Attention to detail is very important as a soft skill. I'm sure you know, if you're in web development, that there's a big difference between the equal to sign, the double equal to, and the triple equal to. So you can see how a single character or a single symbol can make all the difference. This is why I would say attention to detail is very important. You need to be able to easily observe and spot differences, especially maybe if you're working in a code base. This will save you time that you probably would have wasted trying to debug an issue. Something may seem minor at first, but when you truly inspect it and you pry deeper, you realize that there's a pattern in the code that will lead you to finding a much deeper issue. This has happened to me before, and you can probably relate to it also. So for me, when I think I've completed a project, for me to pay attention to detail, I either ask a friend to review it, or I come back to that project the next day and try to review it with a fresh perspective, with the fresh eyes. I'll also say code reviews with your colleagues or with your peers would also help you to develop that attention to detail, because if they point out an error, chances are that when you're working on a similar project, you pay attention not to make that mistake anymore. So the second thing that you want to do to contribute to you paying attention to details is to practice project management. So try to break down any project that you're given into manageable small bits, right? These are some of the things that I found to be useful to help me, develop my own attention to detail skills and even be more careful when I'm working on any project. So you want to keep those eyes sharp. Now, number 4 skill, which I mentioned earlier, that is my favorite soft skill that has really helped me grow and become more confident on my job, is what I call communication. So communication is the ability to be able to convey your ideas in a way that is concise, and this communication can either break or make a project, right? I work in a remote company where all my team members are in different parts of the world, so a lot of times communication is very key for us, because this is what really helps us hold all our ideas together. Personally, I've learned to share my ideas no matter how small or how big I think they are. As someone that is an introvert, before I started working, or while I was still developing the skills, I would tend to keep quiet because I think that this idea probably doesn't make sense, or it doesn't really matter. But I've learned to communicate my ideas in a way that makes sense, no matter how small or irrelevant that I think my ideas are. And I do this by booking a one-on-one session with my colleagues or even with my manager to share it. A lot of times I find out that it's easier to pass my message across to a smaller group of people than to the entire company. So I pass that message across, and I could even go the next step of creating all my ideas into, or putting all my ideas rather, into a Notion doc, and this helps me to more or less reinforce that idea or whatever thing I'm communicating to my colleague at work. Now, one thing I want to point out is that communication is a two-way thing, right? It's not just about you communicating and telling someone about your ideas or whatever is on your mind. It's also important to actively listen to what the other person is saying. So communication is two-way. So while you're communicating and telling and sharing your ideas, you also want to actively listen, because this will help you have a fresh perspective into things that you probably would not have known. Another thing that can help you develop this communication skill is to leverage tools like Trello, Slack, Loom. A lot of times I use Loom a lot because since I work in a remote team, Loom just helps me put down all my ideas and thoughts into a video, and I just share the link with my colleague, and this saves the time that would have been probably spent on meetings. You're just able to communicate your thoughts accurately in a Loom video, so you may want to try that as well. Now on to the final soft skill. This is what I call continuous learning. So tech is a very fast-paced industry, and for high flyers to continually stay relevant, you want to continuously be learning. So it's not just about what you know today, it's more about how adaptable you are to the tools that will come out tomorrow, right? Think of it like this: your knowledge today might be cutting edge, but without the commitment to actually continue learning, you can risk being, yesterday's news, which is not what we want, right? So it's best to commit to learning to really thrive in tech, right? So how can you commit to learning? For me, I use tools and platforms like Udemy. I have a lot of courses on Udemy that I bought, and I found out that Udemy is a very good resource. You can also consider learning on platforms like Coursera, Front-End Masters, Egghead. These platforms have a lot of tech courses that will help you. Secondly, attend tech conferences, whether it's virtually or in person. These conferences help you to learn from experts. It helps you to discover trends that are emerging, and even just rub minds with individuals that can help spark you up, right? So don't underestimate the power of networking. Engage with communities as well. Join communities that are on Slack, join communities that are on Discord, and just also contribute to open source. I found out that open source is a platform and is an avenue for you to really develop and learn your skills in tech. Alright, so let's wrap it up. Number one, we looked at ownership, genuine curiosity, attention to detail, communication, and continuous learning. Now, which of these skills do you truly find valuable, and did I miss any skill that is core? Share your comments and your thoughts below. And of course, if you found this video really helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.